Jon Jones is probably the best mixed martial artist of all time in terms of talent, but his inability to stay out of trouble has made his own actions the only thing keeping him from breaking every record in the world. Those same actions have recently earned him a ban from the gym he has spent the entirety of his fighting career with. We take a look at what's next for Jon, plus other MMA news, next. Cody Durden's post-fight error. We as MMA fans have accepted that post-fight interviews are more about building or maintaining your brand than they are about accurate fight analysis, and calling out other fighters or even the promotion itself doesn't make anyone bat an eye anymore. Cody Durden's actions, though, surely crossed the line as he outright said, "Go back to China," after defeat in a decision victory. Calling out your opponent with some casual racism is never a good look, but the fact that the win was unconvincing at the best of times and boring at the worst of them means that fans aren't exactly clamoring to defend the man who just that night picked up his first octagon victory. Kayla Harrison remains a hot commodity. Kayla is arguably the hottest female fighter in MMA right now, and that fact was only proven when her manager broke down just how much interest is floating around for her services. Her manager joked that even Walmart wants a shot at her, but just in terms of fighting promotions, WWE and AEW have reached out, as well as most major MMA promotions at this point. Kayla has gone on record to say that she is going to have to make Dana care if she wishes to join the UFC, but honestly, it feels like right now she could pick her destination, and if her star is anything where people think it is, then we should all get used to hearing Kayla's name for the foreseeable future, no matter how things shake out. Anthony Smith responds to Conor's comments. Anthony Smith is a blunt guy, and that honestly has helped him become well-liked by the MMA community as both a fighter and a commentator. Anthony says that Conor's constant need to troll and lash out at those within the MMA community is simply because Conor is just jealous that he can't gain the acceptance of his peers. Could there be any truth to this? Who knows, but it could make sense. Conor was voted the richest athlete in the world last year, and the respect and admiration among fighters may be one of the only things that McGregor doesn't have. That being said, there's also a solid chance that Conor doesn't really care about what anyone thinks, period. So there's also that. How did we get to this point with Jon Jones? There was a period in time where Jon Jones was already being pushed as the face of fighting after being the youngest person ever to win UFC gold and earning a pretty lucrative Nike contract to become the face of the market of the huge sports company was just then dipping their toes into. Flash forward a few years later, and Jones has effectively lost all the luster surrounding his name. Drug-fueled benders, lawsuits, and crimes have not only limited his activity in the octagon, but have also made him a very difficult figure to root for. Through it all, though, Jon was able to rely on the Jackson Wink gym, who exclusively trained the fighter to keep things balanced. Now, not so much. The last straw. The gym that endured countless steroid controversies, Jon getting in a car crash with a pregnant woman and running off, and so much more, is finally giving up on Jon. So what set them over the edge? In September, Jon was once again arrested in Vegas, this time for domestic violence, as well as headbutting a cop car following said arrest. I don't think the incident itself was just too much for the gym, but that it was maybe the result of years of dealing with problems that sent them over the edge. It's also fair to say that Jon hasn't been the most active fighter, even without legal trouble these last few years, and so maybe it was just not worth the effort anymore. Who's to say exactly, but what exactly could this mean for Jon? A make or break moment. As much as Jon leaving Jackson Wink Gym is weird, and it will be awfully strange to watch the next time Jon ends up fighting, one can also argue that there has not been a whole lot of that going on recently, and maybe this can be good for both parties. For the popular gym, they have had their fair share of change these last few years, with fellow fighter Cowboy Cerrone also speaking pretty harshly of the gym recently, so maybe the time away from Jones's drama could help the gym reignite its passion and find a few new fighters to build up. Since we all know it's been a while, the gym has come under fire in recent years for allowing just about anyone to show up and train, making the fighters feel ridiculous that they aren't getting the individualized care that they deserve. While I'm sure Jon's case was different, being basically the face of the gym for more than a decade, those kinds of rumors definitely didn't help Jackson Wink, and so maybe now they can go back to proving they are indeed a top-tier MMA gym. Let's talk about Jon's future. This probably won't surprise many of you, but the path that Jon Jones is headed down right now is not sustainable. Jones has barely fought the last handful of years, and with these charges that don't seem to be changing anytime soon. The longer that Jon stays away from the sport, the more time that there is for competition to catch up to him, and the negotiations between Dana White and Jon for a big heavyweight bout with Francis Ngannou look to be completely stalled out at this point. Jones may not find what he's looking for with Dana in the UFC, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him fighting outside the promotion going forward. Jones's problems extend far outside the octagon, but it feels like he isn't going to slow down as long as he is able to use his money and influence to avoid consequences for his actions. It could be asking a lot to expect him to change now, but will we see him compete soon? Jones enters the celebrity fighting game. Jake Hager, who fought under the name Jack Swagger and is currently signed under the AEW wrestling brand, is booked to fight Jon Jones this February. Jones accidentally spread the news a little too soon, but it has been confirmed that even if the fight hasn't been officially revealed, it has already been booked for February of this upcoming year. This would be Jon's first fight of any kind since defeating Dominic Reyes in the UFC over a year ago. The hope is that this could turn around Jon's recent spiral, and that if Jon can be focusing more on fighting and less on causing mayhem in his personal life, that we could at least enjoy his crazy skills for a bit instead of just his outbursts. It would be interesting to see what Jones looks like versus Hager, as we have to remember that Hager did fight in Bellator and won all but one of his fights there. At the same time, though, this is clearly not Bellator competition with Jon Jones. Henry Cejudo vouches for Jones. Since Jon's no longer fighting at the Jackson Wink gym, he has had to find a way to stay in shape and prepare for his eventual fight and probable MMA return. Recently, it seemed like Jon will be doing so at the Fight Ready gym in Arizona, one that is frequented by fellow UFC champ Henry Cejudo. The two have been spotted training together, and Henry has even vowed to keep Jon in line as they train together, hopefully providing some discipline to the troubled Jones. It's hard to imagine Henry finally being the person to get through to Jon, but even if he can help jumpstart Jones into some internal work in a small way, that could be huge for Jon. 60 days sober. Jon has been pretty active on Twitter that his latest mistake was going to also be his last, with an emphasis recently on his mental health and the strides that he is making. Many MMA fans are still holding their breath as Jon has done this before, only to go on some wild bender and find himself in trouble with the law again. Jon recently tweeted that he is over 60 days sober, which is a great accomplishment for the former light heavyweight champ if true, but I think he's going to have to really prove that he has turned a corner in his life before people begin to believe it, as many have been burned by his false redemption stories in the past. And that's it for our video today. What do you think the future holds in store for Jon Jones after his celebrity match? And do you think that he'll fight in the UFC anytime soon? Leave a comment down below and let us know. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like as it helps us out a bunch. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this one posted all the time. That's all the time I got, but have a good one. See ya, guys.